So the last time we saw each other, um, we spoke about the whole issue of being a postgraduate student. We looked at some of the skills that one would have to acquire into succeeding your postgraduate studies. Um, there you go. What is what is the research all about? What does it entail? And we spoke about, for me, the most important point here, guys, is using the skills. Because as soon as you register, right, um, find you've got to do your research proposal. Doing that research proposal requires for you to um, implement those skills. So it's not like when you're after your proposal has been accepted that now these process skills come into play. So basically, we spoke about the skills, right? And the various skills that you would need, and we did, identify a very important one, and that was your academic writing skills. And we spoke about why, um, there's so much of emphasis placed on that and the role it plays in your postgraduate studies. And especially when it comes to, writing your proposal, doing your thesis, doing your dissertation, even when it means writing journal articles. So if you don't have the necessary academic writing skills, then whatever research you do, you may be able to conduct good research. You may be good in the field, you may be excellent as a presenter, but ultimately, everything has to be put down on pen and paper. And so that's where the research skills come in. Again, we spoke about all of this. And guys, because this we have limited time, you know, we can only go up to 2 hours um on a workshop per workshop. It's these areas that I'm going through with you are quite large. I mean, there's umpteen books just written about these things. So I'm trying to actually take all and condense it so that I can address it with you within the 2 hours. So you're going to find that I do put up additional slides for you. And I don't talk about it because I touch on the key points, and then these additional are just something that you should read up on as I've given you, just to supplement the knowledge that you already have. And it's purely out of time constraints. Then we looked at the difference between the three: the proposal, the dissertation, and your thesis. We spoke about at length what a research proposal is all about. We looked at the differences again. One we said was when you are completing your master's degree, that is where you will have um, your you will complete a thesis. When you are doing a PhD, then we refer to your completed document as a dissertation. Okay, and then you limit it by the number of pages, and then that also speaks to the time that you have in which to carry out your study. So, for a master's degree, you don't need as much time. For a PhD, yes, it's a long time. Purely because, yes, the research, but also um, data collection. Data collection, very important. So, also with the honors degree, as I explained, yes, day before yesterday, With the honors, remember, it's basically just opening the door into research. It's about just getting your toes wet, and the thesis is fairly small because the research has to be done, I think, within a couple of a month or two, something like that. It depends on the institution. So, in terms of the honors, yes, it's just like opening the door to more to these other degrees. Again, dissertation, thesis, this is something you can just read up on. Then we looked at qualitative, quantitative research. And we spoke about basically with regards to qualitative research. I'd like to hear from you guys. What do you, what's your feel? What do you think it is? What does it involve? I just want to get some feedback from you guys in terms of qualitative research, the qualitative paradigm. What do you understand by it? What do you think it involves?
Hello, can you hear me, Lisa?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think it involves interviews and primary sources. Yes.
Okay. It does involve your interviews. Remember that the interviews are but a means of obtaining data, and it's applicable to both your master's, your PhD. Okay, so with yes, qualitative research, interviews are very um, prominent, a very common means of obtaining data. So it's like your interviews are the instruments basically that you would use to obtain your data. So if we, anybody else, please?
So from what I understand is that for your qualitative research, it seems to be more about information gathering, but then analyzing that information and developing theories or hypotheses that may explain certain patterns within the data itself.
Yeah, yes, that's very good. So when you're saying, Jobs, when you talk about explaining certain patterns, so that brings us down to qualitative data analysis. So, from the two responses that we've got tonight, it's excellent. And it's good because it's touching on every aspect of qualitative research. So basically, guys, when you are writing your research proposal, you have your topic already. You did your background literature search, and now what happens is that you now decide, all right, I've got everything. How am I going to obtain the answer for my the topic? Because realize from the topic, you're going to get your main research question. From your main research question, you then have 3 sub-questions. The sub-questions that you will ask will give you the answer to your main research question. And the main research question will speak to your topic. So, what qualitative research then is, if I remember, I say to you, qualitative research is more where you are concerned with, getting rich data. You concerned with getting in-depth answers from your participants, because with qualitative research, we want to know more. We are probing. As opposed to quantitative is where, it's more statistical based. You're dealing more with numbers. It's research that you would do like on a large scale. Some, you can do over 100, 200, going up to 1,000, 2,000, things like that. So with qualitative research, our number is much smaller because it involves, liaising with the participants, having a discussion with your participants. So that is what qualitative research is all about. So your topic will decide on the paradigm that you are going to use, whether it is qualitative or quantitative. And then each research paradigm there comes with its own methodology. So, it will tell you, all right, this is how the research should be conducted. These are your instruments that you should use. This is how you will analyze your data. So, even the way, it's you're going to report on your findings. If it is qualitative, then you're writing in narrative form, meaning using words. If it is quantitative, then you would use graphs, you would use tables, things like that, and give an explanation at the bottom showing exactly what is happening in your graph or your table. So in a nutshell, this is also, I need to tell you about this, that we do use your questionnaires in both qualitative and quantitative. Again, with the questionnaire, we use an open-ended questionnaire in qualitative because with an open-ended questionnaire, you're giving the participant, the opportunity to explain themselves. Whereas in quantitative research, we're using a closed-ended questionnaire. It's either a yes or no answer, and that's as far as it goes. There's no explanation, no probing. Always remember when it comes to qualitative research, remember the word probing. When you probe, you want more because you're trying to elicit more information. And we say that qualitative research renders rich data. And we say rich because of the depth of data that you can extract as opposed to quantitative. Qualitative is also, for me, more hands-on because you're dealing with, you're interacting with people. It's not like you just administer a questionnaire online. You just send it through via email, as what we would do in quantitative. There are various methods that we use in qualitative research. Also, we have something called data triangulation. Data triangulation is where we would use at least 3 different ways of obtaining information. The purpose of that is to establish validity, trustworthiness. It's also to establish that, look, I've tried 3 different ways of eliciting information, and I've got the same information using each way. So it means that, it's solid. That's what we're trying to establish. that your probing is solid. And in terms of qualitative research, it's very difficult to stipulate that, I'm going to do my probing, I'm going to carry out my research, and this is the time frame, this is the date I'm going to finish. The reason why I'm saying this is because qualitative, when you are implementing, when you are trying to obtain the information, because of the nature of qualitative research, which is probing, but also requesting, the participants to give you more sort of, I'm trying to put it in words, to give you more in-depth answers, but also you want to ensure that you've covered all angles basically. And what happens is that you'll notice perhaps you're doing an interview with one particular group, okay, but based on the same topic, and you chose to do, okay, I'm going to do an interview with school A, with the staff members. I'm going to use the same interview schedule with school A, B, and C. And what happens is that school A, okay, different dynamics with all three schools. You would obtain information from them, and as you are probing, you'd notice now everybody is saying the same thing. And as you're doing the second school, you notice, all right, the information that you got from the first school, the second school teachers are giving you the same information, and then you go to the third school and you're getting the same information. So what happens now is we reach data saturation, meaning that from all three schools, we got the same information. You're getting nothing new from any of the three schools. So when that happens, we say we've reached data saturation, which means that there's no longer you no longer probe, you no longer need to interview. So in terms of that, you cannot stipulate like, I'm going to finish all my interviews in this week by the end of this week, because you don't know when you're going to reach data saturation. So that's an important thing that you need to understand. And whenever you are doing research, it doesn't matter whether it's quantitative or qualitative, please use data triangulation, because we need to, in your case, show your supervisor that yes, we have tried these three different ways to elicit information, and the information we are getting from all three are similar, or maybe you're getting one way is eliciting a bit more information, which is very interesting. So we do it with three different ways. Because remember, just administering like a questionnaire online, for example, you email them a questionnaire. Yes, you will get information, but you may not get as much, if I could say, but also if you used two other methods, you could also see across the three and this is where observation comes in, whether the same information has been received across all three, and that's good, okay? So it means that you probed well, things like that. And if, yes, you're not getting the same information, then it means it could be that perhaps your style of carrying out the research needs to be revisited. Um, Basically, we just want to lend authenticity to the findings. And that is why we're using 3 different ways of conducting this research. So I know in the social sciences, in education, you're looking at qualitative research. And so your quantitative will come in more with stats, mathematics, things like that. Okay, enough said about that. Then I gave you a breakdown. Are you guys able to see my slide?
Yes.
Shut. Cool. Thank you. So I gave you a breakdown again, just something that you can read through. We spoke about how we're going to collect the information, open-ended, close-ended. And there at the bottom, one-on-one interviews, focus group interviews, and open-ended questions. So the one-on-one interview, guys, is where you sit with one participant and yourself. So if you're getting getting confused when I use the word participant, it's the people that would be involved in your study, the actual people that you would elicit your information from, other participants in your study. So you'll do a one-on-one interview, then you get a focus group interview. A focus group interview is where you would have about 6 to 8 participants, right? And then you just conduct the interview in the group. And, I can't tell you that, one method of interview is better than the other in terms of the focus group and the one-on-one, because it will depend on the information that you want to extract. So sometimes if you are asking them, let's say you go into school and you want to know from teachers, what are the issues that they are experiencing at school with regards to how they're being managed, okay? So you can do a focus group interview. And, if you've got, we don't go very large also on the focus group, because then we lose control. So if you've got a large staff there, then you can do like 3 or 4 focus groups. So what happens in a case like this is the focus group interview, you've got 8 people and you want to elicit information regarding their perceptions or, the issues that they have with the way that they are being managed. Now, dynamics come into play there, people dynamics. And you may get one person in the group that's, has everything negative to say, and which is good, because you are allowing them to express themselves. And you don't only go in, when you go in with the mindset that I only want to hear good things, then your research is going to fall down flat. You must go in with the idea that I want to hear what they have to say, good or bad. And then based on what I'm hearing, I'm going to decide, ask them what the solution would be, whether it's good or bad. So with your focus group coming back, you will get participants who will be honest and give you, their honest opinion. Then you get going to get those participants who will be afraid, okay? Because the topic of discussion is a very sensitive one, and also one that if people in management find out this is what this teacher had to say, then obviously it's going to have repercussions. And the issue of victimization comes in, all of that. So we also want, prior to you conducting these interviews, you first get your participants to sign a consent form. In that consent form, you will state basically what this research is about, why you're holding this focus group interview, and or what you're going to do with the findings of this interview. Because remember, you are taping the interview. After you've taped it, you need to have it transcribed. So this data now is with you, and others can get a hold of it, right? And that's why you need to, on that consent form, ensure the participant of confidentiality, meaning you will not release this data to anybody. And you will assure them as to how you will keep the data safe, in other words. So when you've, as much as they would have signed that, there's still that question of somebody can get a hold of it. And that's where you're going to get participants who are reluctant, to speak. So in your focus group, that's just one of the obstacles that you will face. Oh, and the other will be you're going to get participants who will dominate the group. So then you as the interviewer needs, your interviewing skills have to be very good, because here you have to, when you see this happening, then you got to jump in and you got to try to, stop this one person basically who's just answering all the questions and taking over, not allowing others to speak. But there's a way that you would do that. You wouldn't outright say, hey, I think you should be quiet. You can't do that. There's a way. So that's where your interviewing research skills come in. So the focus group has benefits in the sense that if the topic is not too sensitive, then you're going to find people adding stuff and talking and discussing, and eventually your aim should be to get a discussion going within that group. And you are the observer in a case like that. You just sit back, you are recording, and you're letting it go naturally. And then if you feel, all right, this discussion now is supposed to be about policies, but now it's taking on a different direction. People are talking about baking strategies. So you then have to guide it back, gently bring it back on the discussion on policies. So you will get positives and negatives from your focus group interviews. But like I said, it depends on your research question. If it's of a very, very personal nature, so if I go in there and my question is, and my focus is on, for example, is the principal of the school a good manager, and why? Now, in that focus group, it's going to be very people who say yes and why, they are comfortable with it, but you're going to get those few who would say no, and my reason being principal sexually harasses people. I'm just using that as an example. So in a case like that, if there are negatives, people are going to be reluctant to bring it out, because you don't know in that group who after the interview will go up to the principal and say, hey, you've been accused of sexual harassment, and a certain person said this about you. So it's a very subjective question in a case like this. And you can conduct the focus group, but remember, you don't know if you are getting a true reflection. That's when your one-on-one comes in. So with the same group now, I can schedule one-on-one interviews with each participant. And trust me, when you do that, you're going to see the difference in answers. Because the person whose feels are now sexually harassed by the principal in a one-on-one interview, feels no inhibitions about openly saying, this is what happened to me on a certain day, this is what he did, things like that. So your in qualitative research, the way you're going to obtain your data, and this is like the different ways that you can obtain. Yes, we administer open-ended questionnaires to people. It's done, you email it to them. We got your focus group, which for me is, your interviews. That means of collecting data is far, far more better, and it makes your research, as a researcher, you become more excited in your research. You will find that, because you will enjoy that. You'll only know this when you get into it. You will enjoy just sitting there listening to what people have to say, and then like you sort of like drop a stone from time to time and like get everybody to start thinking a little bit differently and contribute in a different way, some things like that. So you play around with that, as opposed to quantitative research. It's very how would I say, clinical? Yeah, for me it's very clinical. All right, we have a hand there.
Regarding mixed methodology. So yes, I'm quite aware of qualitative and quantitative, but in a research where you need to now disseminate information both statistically and people's perceptions and views, how do you go about it?
So yeah, mixed methods will involve, it is basically as it says, that in your research you're doing part of it is qualitative, part of it is quantitative. So you'll still employ the research methods set out by each paradigm, but when it comes to, according to your question, if I'm not mistaken, but you've said about the results, and okay, so for the qualitative part, you will do use your qualitative methods of research, which will involve your data collection instruments, which will involve your analysis of data. Sorry?
No, I'm saying such as interviews and focus
Mm,
groups, that
mm.
type of thing.
Yeah. So what will happen is because you're working on both, and remember that each one comes with their research methods in place. So you'll follow it as is. And then when it comes to your data analysis for both, you'll do it the way the research method stipulates for both each paradigm. And then in terms of your writing up of your research, that's after you do your data analysis, it's the same procedure. So the only difference here is that in mixed research is that you're using a bit of quantitative methodology research methods and a bit of qualitative research methods to get your answers from.
Okay, thank you. Highly
Uh,
appreciate.
okay, but could I also make a suggestion in terms of mixed research? The prominent scholar on it it's called the name is Creswell. Creswell, yeah. And you're going to find that Creswell has written a lot. There's a lot of books he has written, a lot of information on mixed methods. So he's basically, if I could call it this, the guru of mixed methods. And it's if you can get a hold of one of his books, then Julia, we love seeing you. Okay, so if you can get a hold of one of his books, and the good thing is that he keeps adding additions. So it's
Okay.
almost
Any
like I think
chance,
every 2 or 3 years there's a new edition coming out.
okay, thank you. Any chance, Lisa, that maybe even before the end of the session, you can just type in the author in the
Yeah,
chat, and then I can see to it. Thank you so
I'll
much for
do
your
that.
okay.
Pleasure.
Highly appreciate.
Yeah. So
Hello.
hello, hi.
Yes, can I ask a question, Lisa?
Yes, please.
Yes, I heard you talk about an open-ended question. So is it also, I can also use preparing questions for the interview when I am using an open-ended question?
Yes. In your interview, you will use an open-ended question because you want to create a dialogue between people. Remember, using an open-ended question, an example would be, do you think that, I'm just trying to think of a good one. There you go. Do you think that Eskom is fair in implementing so many different levels of load shedding? Just something like that. And then, of course, that's a yes or a no answer. So that's where it'll become quantitative. But if you're using a qualitative paradigm, then you'd go, do you think Eskom is fair? Da da da. And the participant will go yes or no. And your next part will be why. So when the why comes in, it means that now this participant is now going to have to substantiate for their initial answer a yes or a no. Immediately, what you're doing is you're now probing. And now this is where you're going to get rich data just for your qualitative paradigm. So that's like an open-ended question, sir.
Okay, thank you, Lisa.
Are you happy with that answer, sir?
Yes, I'm happy, Lisa. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we stopped at how you're going to choose your research topic. So before we go on into that, guys, can I just hear from the house how, have you chosen a research topic? If yes, how did you get to that?
Lisa, I've chosen a research topic,
Mm,
and I submitted to my supervisor, but then there was a lot of back and forth.
yeah.
Um, you know, a day before yesterday, you mentioned that, there was a point where you were even starting to question your intelligence. And what you said really gave me hope and, some kind of encouragement, because that's how I feel.
Oh.
And then I changed the topic, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because we had a discussion, like, giving guidance and stuff, and then I changed the topic. Then I changed the topic, sent to him, same thing. Same thing. And now I chose a new one. I want to choose a new one
Yeah.
after you've given guidance as to, what we should look for. For example, you mentioned something about an area that you are passionate about. Because with the second topic now, I was leaning towards what he thinks I should say, I should choose and go and read up on that, of which is something that, it's going to require me to actually gain interest first.
Yeah.
So I decided to go back to the topic, like similar topic to what he rejected, but I'm just so despondent, and yeah. So I'm hoping, because last time I asked, whether you should start by requesting literature things first. So I think I'm just gonna start with that and request information, and then read up a lot on the topic that I want to choose now, so that when I go back to him, which it's something really starting to be heavy on me.
Yeah. No, it is.
Then I can, yeah. But it's really tough to choose a topic, because you come up with a topic and you think, okay, now I've got this. And then it's like it's not complete, or it's too long, or you need to go and refine it. And yeah, it's just tough.
Oh, thanks, Anika. I'm so sorry that you're feeling this way. But yeah, this is the start of this journey. Like I said, you're going to get. Remember, I said your research topic is not fixed. Your research area, yes,
Yeah.
that you want to, focus on this niche area, and this is where your interest lies. But don't be worried if they tell you, okay, let's change the topic. It's only because sometimes we as students feel, right, this is what I want to investigate. This is my topic. I'm doing the lit review, because you already have this like a plan in your mind. But I always say your supervisor is coming from a point where they are literally the experts in that field. So I'm not saying that they are, right 100% of the time. And I firmly believe that as a student, you should not just allow them to change your focus of research. It's more like when they suggest this, Anika, you need to get into a discussion with them before you say, yeah, I'm going to do as you said. They need to, you need to understand from them why. And then only you'll be able to see, okay, lecturer does have an argument, or lecturer's just being mean. There's no argument, because that is going to influence the way you are going to look at your research in terms of your interest.
Yeah.
So if you feel, I'm sorry, yes?
Just one last thing, because as you also indicated that you might change your topic a lot, but then when you get to, because in between,
I want to ask something.
Yeah, sorry, sir. You're just gonna have to wait, sir. We can't be rude when somebody's speaking. Everyone will get a turn, sir. Thank you. Yes, Anika. Anika?
Okay. So I wanted to check because with the topics that I came up with, also maybe it's because it's still in the beginning. I don't know how to approach this, but I'm always like every time thinking about what is going to be the research question that I'm going to come up with this.
Yeah.
Like how do you go about that if like currently you are not sure what's going to be the research problem? You're just interested in finding out more about the topic that you want to research on.
Okay.
So is there a way in which you can just direct?
Yeah. You see,
Thank you.
You're welcome. The picture I'm getting here is that you need to have done your research, your reading first. And when you've done the reading, you then look at, okay, I've read all of this and this is what I found. These are the gaps I got in the literature. So, Anika, and this is to everybody in this workshop. You cannot just sit there and say, I'm studying this field. It's interesting. I think this is going to be my research topic. Your research topic, guys, you can only arrive at that after you have done extensive reading in the field. Extensive. And after doing that, then only can you say, right, this is interesting. I'd like to do research on this. And then you start reading, you start looking at research conducted in this area before, and you may find some research done, you may not find it. And if you don't find it, all the better, because then you know it's a gap and that you need to do the research on it. So do not at this point worry about the topic. Like Anika said, the important thing is looking at the question, the research question that you are asking. What is it that concerns you? What is it that, what's the problem that you are identifying? What do you want to investigate? And based on that research question, then you will go to a topic. So the topic, like I said, it changes all the time, but it's not a drastic change. It's not, and it shouldn't be. The topic is a play of words, guys. It's just a play of words. And the topic you will learn has to be so many words. So you cannot exceed so many words. And in order to get your topic within maybe 12 words or whatever, you got to structure it in such a way. And that's where your supervisor will come in. But and we're going to discuss this today, how you're going to choose your research topic. And often, guys, if you do not read in that field, if you don't, or you just read maybe, for 2 or 3 hours, and then you decide, okay, I think my research topic is going to be this, then it's not going to work because you haven't investigated properly.
Regarding the research topic, I remember when I was doing my master's, I had this problem of changing topics, I think 3 times until I was just firm saying, no, I don't want to change my topic. it will be like this, and I'm going to continue with it, because I knew what was the problem.
Yes.
And then the supervisor will say, no, I don't see the need of continuing with the topic because you won't get enough information, enough data. And but because I believed in myself that I know and I see the problem, and I'll get more information about it. And then I continued with my topic, and then I think I even went far with the literature review. The one that they were saying, yes, the one that they were saying it won't work for me, but at last I won. I was the one who won. Yes. So now I've got my other research topic for this for my thesis. But with this one, is where with my research topic, for me to find it is I saw the problem first, and then I asked people who I think I'm going to interview first, but I didn't tell them that I'm going to register something regarding that. I was just asking questions, trying to get their perceptions. So that's where they said, no, here's the problem. We have the problem like 1, 2, 3. And then that's where I saw, no, this is the topic that I will use in my thesis. And then I haven't talked to the supervisor yet because I had a problem of accessing my emails on my life. So but yes, now we reach an agreement. We have an appointment. I have to go and talk to her about my topic. So we're still going to discuss about it. But I just think, I believe that it will also work for me, even this one.
It will. Thank you for that, ma'am. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes, sometimes I'm thinking, I hear you saying, is it Anika, the previous speaker? Yes, she says yes, change topics. So sometimes you have to just be firm, stand your ground, saying, but I see 1, 2, 3. That's why I think it will work for me. Don't just believe on their decisions, because they want you to take their route, whereas you want to take your own route, and you foresee that it will work for you. Yes.
No, that's excellent. Thank you for that. I'm so happy.
Thank you so much.
I'm so happy to hear this, and congratulations on getting your master's. Using that strategy of yours. It's not an easy one, ma'am, because you're going against, what the supervisor is telling you.
Yes.
Yeah, it takes a lot of strength to do that. That's excellent. Well done.
Thank you, ma'am.
Pleasure. So, guys, I'm so happy that we've had somebody share this with us on the group. Why? Because, like I said, you're not going to allow your supervisor to keep changing your topic without explaining why. So that's where you're going to have a discussion. Sometimes, guys, you cannot just only rely on written feedback, going back and forth via emails. Sometimes you're going to have to decide, look, it's too much now. I need to have a verbal discussion. We need to talk about the issue. So that's one. The second thing is, and I found this, if you do not establish the reason why you're doing this research, if you cannot establish a solid reason why, then you're not going to get your research topic right. If you do not do adequate reading in the field. Your research question will be off, your research topic will be off. So the foundation for me is this reading is crucial. You have to immerse yourself in the field. And for a master's degree, guys, we're talking months upon months here. Once you've now read through, and then you can see, okay, these are the issues presenting itself from the research I've read. This is what's happening in my work environment. It's the same issues presently occurring. So one is that, yes, it's occurring around me. I have a legit reason for conducting the research based on what's going on. But at the same time, the literature search revealed also that these are the three prominent issues that was found in other organizations as well. So immediately I know that I've got a good enough basis to conduct the research. So you see how important that literature review, the searching for information, immersing yourself in information regarding this field. It's absolutely important to an extent where I know I was at a research workshop and there were some PhD students there, and when asked, what are you doing at this very moment? What are you doing in terms of your study? Some people said, yeah, we're busy with the proposal. Some people were still considering registering. Someone was writing their chapter 2, but there were just a few, colleagues who were there that said, I'm reading for my PhD. I'm reading for my master's. Now that for me is most important because it's an indication of a person who's not thumb-sucking, of a person who's really wanting to immerse themselves in the field, and after doing a thorough reading, then settling on what is it that I would like to research about. Okay. So the next person was Samantha Intuli.
Yes, hi Lisa.
Hi.
So my topic, it was quite easy to choose because it's something that I've been very passionate about for quite a while. One of the things that you mentioned was, passion. So
Yeah.
I'm in the pharmaceutical industry,
Yes.
and my topic is predominantly focusing on occupations, qualifications. So, because time and time again, we've got learners or beneficiaries of learnership coming through, and for me, I just wanted to find out what happens to these beneficiaries once they complete. How far do they go? Are they employable?
Yeah.
Do they achieve the qualification, and what happens afterwards? So it's something probably plus minus 5 years. I'm at UNISA and I've just started my master's, but this topic has been in my head, I kid you not, for about 5 years. So so I think from about 2 years ago, I started inquiring at universities and actually looking at, because some universities, the supervisors, they publish, their focus areas. And I was adamant that I didn't want anybody who would literally make me deviate from my topic, because this is what I want. So I was very, very intentional So at UNISA, I bumped across a certain focus area with a supervisor. And then once I started with my application, then I sent it to him. And he was actually in awe. And he said they've never looked at adult education, especially in occupations. Mostly it would be your normal stream varsity or TVET, not occupations. And he just grasped it and said, Sam, go ahead, I'll support you, we'll support each other, whatever, but let's go with this because it's something they haven't been exposed to. And for me, I was very adamant. I said, if it means I postpone another 10 years, I find a supervisor, whether overseas, but I am not, because it's something, you know, on an annual basis. I see these beneficiaries in these occupations, and I seriously want to find out how far they go in life, because as you know, unemployment is an issue, and with this intervention, it's a step stone for them to be employable. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Ah, brilliant. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant, Sam. I think it's awesome. Again, guys, see the issue of doing research on something that you are passionate about. And because she's passionate about this, she's been able to, you know, wait till the right opportunity arises to do this. And having the right supervisor is one of it. They always say supervisors either make or break you. And this is a clear example, but also the issue of passion, the issue of loving to do that in that particular area, that niche area. So, you know, when supervisors actually tell you, okay, this topic needs to change, and sometimes, and I've experienced this where you know, a supervisor will look at your proposal, they like it, get accepted, and then before the work kicks in, you are told, look, topic has to change. The area still remains the same. The focus area will still be the same. But you can, like I said, if you know your work, if you have read thoroughly, you can argue for why the topic should change. You could argue that you think your topic should remain, and it's based on these grounds. 1. 2, you're going to get a supervisor that's going to tell you, you need to change your topic because you're going to run into a dead end. And purely being because you're not going to get enough of literature. The field in that area is fairly new. And in a case like that, guys, in a case like that, it means that when you were writing your research proposal and deciding on a particular topic, it means that you didn't do extensive reading. Because if you did extensive reading, you would have picked that up. But there's very little information given on what you want to research. Now, that's actually, there's two arguments there, that yes, there isn't information, there is very little information given on what you want to research, and that's going to hamper, your research when it comes to writing up your findings. Why am I saying this? Because when we write up our findings, we back it up by literature, right? Already published in the field. It needs to be backed up by sources. And if you can't find sufficient research conducted in that field, you're not going to have any sources to back up your findings. And that's where you're going to reach a dead end. But then again, also, it comes back to you as a student. To me, it indicates that my student hasn't done their part. They haven't immersed themselves in the field. And you cannot do a postgraduate degree without, having read thoroughly in the area that you want to conduct your research in. So when a supervisor says that, they've got foresight and they know the field, like I'm saying, in a case like this, it's good where they're telling you, you know what, there's not enough literature for you if you go this route. And this is why you need more literature, like I've explained to you. But if the supervisor is saying to you, the topic is off, we need to do this and this. So my argument is, and this is what you should actually discuss with them, is, all right, you say the topic needs to be changed. Okay, so will my research still be in the same niche area that I want to conduct it in? And if changing that topic is going to result in you having to change that area and focus on something else, and if that doesn't keep, spike your interest, then it's not going to work. But having that discussion is absolutely vital. And I think that, to prevent yourself from getting in that situation, it's always best at the proposal level to say, to do what I'm telling you, just immerse yourself in the field of the literature. Read as much as possible. Just read. And you, trust me, if you're reading extensively, you will find information that speaks to what you want to research about. And certain times you're going to find information that will change your mind in terms of your research topic. You will change it.
I have the same trouble choosing my topic as well. I had an initial topic, then my supervisor said it was more of a statement, so I decided to change it to something like curriculum differentiation for learners with autism in an inclusive classroom.
Right.
Why I chose this topic is because I'm currently dealing with the situation. So it sparked some interest in me, and I want to see how it goes. So I will be using some like qualitative research and some stuff that you were saying.
Yeah.
But before I go into this topic, she said we must have a meeting.
Yeah.
So that she can pick my mind on why I'm choosing this topic. So when you meet with students who are in a similar situation as mine, what would you be looking at? What points can I prepare so that I can give them to her to approve the topic or something like that?
Well, the first thing is, she looked at your research proposal, right, and got back to you with this question.
The research proposal was looked at, and then it had a lot of loopholes. The one I used to apply the initial one. It was something which had to do with technology. So I changed it altogether because I lost interest. When I applied, I thought I was going to do that. But now we are already in June. I no longer want to do that. I have some other interests. So I gave her a topic and she was like, okay, let's sit down and discuss it sometime in the next 2 weeks or so.
Yeah.
So now I don't know what choose. I don't know what to prepare for her so that I can present the topic to her.
No, it is nothing like for you to prepare, so to speak, but it's more, firstly, for me, I would want to know, why did you choose this topic? And did you did you come to this topic after reading the literature?
What I did, why I came to this topic, why I chose this topic, I'm a teacher, and in my classroom since starting this year, since January, I have an autistic learner and an ADHD learner. So now these kids, when they started school in grade 1 or grade R, they were labeled being naughty and stuff like that, being disruptive in class. But then when you look at them and try to understand the situation, you will see that there is really something that is wrong with the kids. They can't help. It just starts. So it sparked an interest in me to go further and try to see how I can help them. Because if you give them, say, 10 sums, they can't do even one. So how then can I differentiate the normal curriculum of that every child has to do 10 sums and make it suitable to them so that they don't get in trouble, the teacher doesn't get frustrated and stuff like that.
So what you're saying
So that's why I thought I should try to research on the topic.
Yeah. That's excellent. Excellent, because now you are passionate about it, so it's going to sustain your interest till the time you finish. 2, it's something real. It's on the ground. It's happening at the moment. But what I want to ask you is, don't worry about the topic. What I want to know
I
is...
got cut off.
Oh, sorry. What I want to know from you is, what is your research question, not the topic? You see, I listened to what you're saying, and from what I'm hearing, you're talking about the curriculum, the everyday curriculum, and then how do you try to accommodate these kids within that curriculum. Am I right?
Yes.
So
that is correct.
So is that your research question?
Yes. How can I, as a teacher, accommodate these kids, these learners? That's the first question. The second question being, can the department be able to differentiate the curriculum from what a standard student is supposed to do?
Okay. So that's your 2 questions. You don't have 3, hey?
So far, I only have 2. I'm still researching further on it.
Okay, so listening to the first one, I would say, state it as simply as possible. Basically, you're just looking at ways to include these learners into the normal curriculum. That's what you're looking at, ways, right?
Yes, that's what I'm looking at. Ways to include the learners into the normal curriculum. Because, when the department comes, they want to see the books. They want to see what we have done to help the learners, but because the learners are not able to do the work, they're not able to sit still and write and even paste a worksheet, we have nothing for them. But surprisingly, when it comes to writing exams, they excel.
Yeah, see. So maybe your approach here is, your question for me now is, it needs to be a little bit more restructured, in the sense that ask yourself and write this down very simply. What is it that I am looking for? What is my concern? And write it very simply. It could be, yes, one, how do I accommodate these learners using our normal curriculum? Or two, it could be, right, I have established that I have these learners, and at the moment, from your observation, there is an issue with using the normal curriculum to teach them. So your other point of research could be, what will be the proper curriculum to use in terms of teaching these learners. So you see from this one observation how many pathways it leads to in terms of your research.
Oh yes, there's a lot. There's a lot. I did some research. I read up on some articles. So those articles, they just talk about troubled learners. They talk about more intelligent learners, but they don't go into ADHD learners or these learners with other issues.
Yeah. You see the second question about the department now. So I wouldn't use that, because I feel right now your concern should be that first question that we discussed. Because if you're going to involve that second question, then what you're doing is that your field of research is going to be too large. Way too large.
I thought as much as well.
I think honestly, with that first question, you can do so much. You can do like different proposals.
Okay.
Just read and then decide. Ask yourself simply. Don't even worry about a topic. Don't even worry about your wording or anything. Just ask yourself, what is it that I want to research? What is it that I want to know? This is the reality happening in my classroom. It's happening around me. I have established these learners. In terms of the curriculum, for me, this is what I would do. In terms of the curriculum, how would I accommodate the learners? Full stop. And then you can, in terms of that, you can interview people. And who would you interview? You can interview people from management. You can interview people who deal with learners.
I also wanted to interview his psychologist.
Yeah.
I have spoken to the mother. So coming from an African Black background, she really doesn't believe that it might be autism. She thinks that maybe somebody is using her son, African beliefs and stuff like that.
Yes.
So I don't know what to go, because there's a lot that I can go with from this case.
But for me, I wouldn't go to the mother, all right? Because it's very subjective. I would go with looking at people who are invested in this field and looking at your psychologist, looking at your therapist, what is it called? Educational, you go to your educational psychologist, you look at your clinical therapist, and these people have invested interest in this area. And all you want to know is basically the question you're asking is, how do these children learn? And if you know how they learn, you can manipulate the curriculum to ensure that they are learning.
Yes, exactly. Okay. Another thing is, should I mention stuff about with regards to their behavior?
You would have to, but I think that all comes in when you are writing your statement, or you are writing your problem statement, because there you're going to give us, you have to give a thorough explanation of why is it that you've chosen this. And that's where your reasoning is going to be, the kids are in my class, this is what I've noticed, hence that is why I'd like to conduct research in this area.
Because it's not only that that the learner's behavior affecting the learner, it also affects other learners, because there's a time when they make certain noises, the noises are playing in their head, and they become vocal. They don't see it as disturbing others, but it is actually impacting on others. So should they be included in this inclusive learning, or what should we do about it?
Well, I think now it's a bit deviating, because we're looking specifically at the curriculum and how we can sustain them, how we address their learning needs.
Oh, okay.
You see, there's many ways, like I say to you, there's so much you can research in this area. If you're looking purely the curriculum way, then that's a good way. And if you're looking purely at how do these children learn, number one, and number two, how do I teach in order to ensure that these children learn? And the third one could be, yes, I'm using the normal curriculum, it's not working. So what happens now? It means I got to know how they learn. I got to know how you should be teaching them, which means I must revisit my curriculum and see what I can change. You know, you're not going to change the curriculum, so to speak, because that's given to you by the Department of Education and it's contained in your CAPS documents, right? But
yes, it is.
So you're going to look at, okay, this is what I'm doing for this week. Let's see what I can tweak or change there just for this group of learners.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, this has been very helpful indeed. Thank you so much. I enjoyed
a pleasure.
All the information you have given me, and it has opened my mind, because I was all over. I didn't know where to really go with the whole thing. But now I'm going to focus on one thing, because if I try to focus on different things, then, my research will be too big and it won't really go anywhere. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, ma'am. You're welcome. Okay, the next hand that I wanted was number 4. Tandiwe. Is Tandiwe there? Tandiwe.
Hi.
Hi. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thanks, lovey. How can I help you?
I've already submitted my research proposal. It was due early last month.
Yes.
But I do know that there are some people who are still busy with their research proposals. The supervisor just sent an outline to them, I think a week ago. And I had chosen a topic on student protests. And I sent it to the HOD, and the HOD said that she loved it. I sent her an outline, and it seemed like it was gonna work. She thought it was a good topic.
Yeah.
After my supervisor spoke to one of his colleagues, they said I should not get into politics because the student protests did start with the EFF, and yeah. So I ended up. I was in like they eventually gave me a topic, and everything was just handed to me, and I feel I have no interest or passion in the topic that was given to me at all, and I'm still trying to research up on it. I don't know if it's too late into the process if other students are still submitting a proposal to change it, because it was very last minute things, like I have to change everything.
No.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask. Is it too late?
I think if you need to find out in terms of the submission date. So you need to check with that supervisor, when is the closing date for submissions, and then you'll be able to see whether you have sufficient time to do another proposal. The other thing is I find I agree with them. This is largely political in nature. And if you're not coming from having done studies, around politics and stuff like that, it's going to be a bit difficult. So I think it's a good idea to move away from what you have chosen. But in the same rush, if they are telling you this is what you need to do, now they cannot choose a topic for you. Bottom line, all right? They can't. And they cannot just tell you this is what you're going to do. No, because it needs to be a conversation. It needs to be a discussion. Then you need to be happy about it. They need to be happy about it. And then only the change occurs. Like you're saying, you're stuck with something where you don't have interest.
Yeah, I feel like I was very much put into a corner because it was literally a few days before the due date. Like I said, this was last month, but I know people are still working on their research proposals as we speak. So it was literally a few days before, and it was just given to me because I had no choice in the matter at all.
No, but why? Why do you think you had no choice?
Because it was due on the 12th of May. Just a few days before then, I was informed that there was I had a whole meeting with my supervisor, and they informed me that they went through the whole proposal with me. They were willing to help me. After that conversation with the colleague, just a few days before the submission dates, it was changed completely. So I had no time to redo a whole proposal from scratch.
No. Okay. I understand that now. So you've already was pushed in a corner. This is just my suggestion. If it was me, this is what I would do. Find out that submission date, because if you're saying that students are still busy with it, then it means you may have time. The second thing is go look for something that sparks your interest. And yes, let it not be on a political level, because I'm telling you, you're opening yourself to a lot. And go look for something that's going to spark your interest, and do your reading quickly in that area. See if you can just flesh out a research proposal quickly just on that, because remember, the most important thing in that research proposal is substantiating why. Why did I choose this topic? Why do I want to research in this area?
Yeah.
It's the why. And if you can, show your supervisor, these are my reasons and they are solid reasons,
Mm-hmm.
then it shouldn't be an issue. And again, if you feel that they're saying to you again now, it's it's wrong, it's not going to work, then for me, I won't just sit back. You schedule an appointment or a Teams call, and you have a discussion, because you need to understand now this is the second time it's happening. Maybe you're just doing something wrong, because remember, supervisors differ, right?
Yeah.
In the way they approach their supervision differs. So I would do that, but also immediately I would just look at a niche area that has my interest, and then read up and see now what type of research, what's your research question, what is it that you want to research about, and then write about that problem statement that speaks to the reasons why you are doing this research. And guys, everybody out there, it's good in the sense that the one student that spoke up about what's happening around her, what's happening on the ground, and when she spoke to other colleagues, and she got answers from them. And that's good, because when you locate a problem on the ground around you, and you can see for yourself it is a problem, you can see others are complaining about it as well. So that becomes one very strong reason why you would like to conduct research in that field, in that area specifically. It's one. And then you can situate it reading the literature, right? Whatever's out there in that field. And then also back it up by saying, look, in this area of research, maybe this particular study was not covered, or the gap in the research shows that this issue is the gap. There's no coverage on it. Because you gotta realize that you have to say why. Why am I choosing this? Okay, but give it a shot. Just go look for another area. Start reading. Find something that piques your interest. And actually look around you also. What are the issues? What are the problems in the area that you are studying in? See if you can locate something on the ground.
Okay. And if, for example, because I know like we do 5 modules, like last year I did 5 modules, and one of my topics, I chose the education system in my community, and how there were only 2 English schools in the whole of my community, like. So I did a research proposal on that. We weren't expected to do a research report, but I did a research proposal on that, and I did really well. But is it okay if I can go with the same, not the same topic, but a similar topic around that? Because I'm not sure if that would be repetition or if that would be acceptable.
Okay, so firstly, this research proposal that you did on this, which degree did you use it for?
The same degree. I'm just retaking one HRAR 81. It's the same degree for anthropology. It was CHS 4801 that I was doing the module.
So you did under that module, your research proposal got accepted. You carried out the research.
No, it was not expected for us to do a research report, just a research proposal.
All right. So for anthropology, so now you're doing anthropology, right?
It's the same course.
Module.
Yes, but I'm just retaking this module this year, which is the only module where you're expected to do actual research. The other modules that I was completing under the same course they only expected to get to the research part, and then from there that's it.
I don't see why you can't use it. Actually, you should.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's actually okay. Thank you for that.
Don't stress, just use it. Do a copy paste.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Okay, lovely.
Right. Thank you.
Pleasure. Guys, to everybody else out there, I know I see hands, but we couldn't get to everybody. We're going to have to call it quits because in 5 minutes, I know we're going to load shed. So, I just wanted to let you guys know. Firstly, I've had students emailing me, and I don't know how to put it, but you can't do that, all right? I only get paid to run the workshop, so you can't email me, guys. I'm so sorry. If you do, I'm just deleting, okay? So don't think I'm being horrible and mean and being a monster and all of that. I'm just I can't respond to your emails. And that's why this platform is good, because then you can ask me questions and we respond to it. The second thing is that with regards to the PowerPoint presentations, with regards to our workshop recording, Calvin deals with that. Calvin will be in touch with you regarding all of that. Honestly, my job is just to run the workshop and full stop. And then the third thing I wanted to mention to you is, should you have any issues, right, with regards to what we're doing, the workshops on, then all you need to do is email Calvin. And what happens here is that if Calvin notices that, there's 10 people sending similar emails, then he gets in contact with me to say, listen, this is story. Maybe we should run a workshop that speaks specifically to this issue that's being raised by, more than 10 students. So that's how the emails work. And it's worth a shot, because if we can get a lot of students who are saying, for example, we don't know how to write a lit review, then it speaks to us and it says there's a need. Here's the need. Let's run the workshop. Okay. And then lastly, what I want to say is we're still stuck. We haven't moved past this slide. All right. So we got to move past the slide, guys. But I also understand the questions and the need for them and the need for the answers. So the next time we're going to see each other on Monday, could I, in the chat, just know if it's okay for me to continue with this slide for Monday? I do not want to jump into the second part of the research proposal.
I just want to ask one thing about the research question. If I'm developing competency framework, is it and then my supervisor says I need to read on competency framework.
So I'm gonna hold you there. It's 1958, and if the lights go, then this whole session is gonna go down. So I apologize. I'm so sorry, but we're gonna have to say goodbye, and we see each other on Monday.